Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is MacVoices, the talk of the Apple community. And folks, this is the MacVoices update for June 2020. Hard to believe another month has gone by, but here we are. I wanted to give everyone an update on the projects and some of the things that are going on behind the scenes at MacVoices. If you are a regular reader of our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, you already know some of these, but I want to make sure that I go into a little more depth and a little more detail here. First up is the idea of transcripts of MacVoices using some of the machine language services. I had an awful lot of response, and thank you very much to everybody who took the time to respond to that. And interestingly, pretty much the universal response was, "No, I don't think that's going to work for me." You just didn't see the value in it, and so that's great. That's exactly the kind of feedback I wanted, because I don't want to waste a lot of time creating something that isn't going to be useful to you. I'd rather bring you more shows or different shows or something of that nature. So, no MacVoices transcript. But I did get one suggestion that I thought was really interesting, and I think we're going to try it and see what you think or how it goes. And that is once or twice a month, either one longer or two shorter, we're going to do Patreon only chats on Zoom. This way, and these will only be for Patreons, patrons through Patreon. So that's how the information will be distributed, just like MacVoices Thinking. And you're invited. You can come to listen and participate. You can come to watch, or you don't have to use it at all. I really don't intend to have any specific agenda items for any of the chats. This is going to be a time where you and I can just talk about whatever's on your mind, whatever's important to you, whether it's news of the day. Of course, we're going to limit it obviously to tech, but whether it's tech news of the day, or a problem you're having with one of your Apple devices or whatever. We'll see if we can give you an idea of how to fix it or maybe point you in a direction. But again, this is going to be yours, so I want to see how it goes. So if you're not comfortable on camera, you don't have to turn your camera on. That's fine. Going to be a little hard to talk if you don't turn your microphone on. But if you just want to come and lurk and hear what everybody else is saying as a MacVoices patron, you have that right. So you'll see those coming out, those notifications coming out. Now, I'm quick to tell you, there are a couple problems with these. First of all, time zones. We have listeners and viewers from all over the world, and I don't want to favor anyone over anyone else. But there are certain realities to that situation, just like any other live show or live event. So I'm going to try to scatter those around, so it won't be on any regular schedule or whatever. Just I'll try to post something, and hey, for the next half hour or whatever, on 2 or 3 days from now, this is where I'll be. Here's the information to connect on Zoom. Come on over and chat. And so come and chat. And let me know what you think about this, because this is a little bit different kind of option. But it'll be just you and me, or me, and a bunch of other patrons talking about whatever you want to talk about. So again, it's yours. Please use it and give me feedback on it. And if you like it, great. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't need it, that's fine too. The other big project that I've been trying to do a little more of is MacVoices Live. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. I've been on Facebook, and this has been a bit of an experimental thing. We've tried just opening it up to anyone. We have had some invited guests, but have made it on the MacVoices group on Facebook, and you want to pay attention to that because that'll become important in a minute. And it's been interesting and overall good. This last week, depending on when you heard this, last week's was so good that I decided to go ahead and release it to the MacVoices feeds. So there may be more of that. In fact, I intend there to be more. There are going to be a couple changes, though. First of all, this is not a change. We will continue the experimentation part. This coming Tuesday, which is tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, but as I record it, we're going to have a discussion broadcast from Zoom to Facebook but just with myself and the guests. And the guests will be Kelly Gamont of the Mac Observer's Daily Observations and Brittany Smith, who you are familiar with, I'm sure, from some of her Mac Voices appearances. And we're going to talk about the psychology of some of the online conferences versus the in-person conferences, which ones are good for what, and why we don't think the physical conferences will be going away anytime soon. So if you want to watch that and participate in the chat, you want to go to the Mac Voices Facebook page, not the group. And let me go through that for a second. This was a suggestion also, and it's really one I hadn't thought about. Up till now, Mac Voices Live has been on the Mac Voices group. So you had to be a member of the group. And the group is a closed group, so you had to have permission to join the group. And that's great, and it has served us well, but it also doesn't allow someone to see us and discover us sort of accidentally, and it makes it a little bit more problematic for you to say, hey, there's something coming up on this, and tell a friend, and then they have to jump through the hoops of joining the group. So from now on, we're going to be broadcasting to the Mac Voices Facebook page. For those episodes that we decide to open up to have additional participants just call in, or Zoom in, I should say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to post that information within the Facebook group. Now, the reason for this, again, is that Facebook group is closed. So it's not out there in the public for some Zoom bomber to come in and disrupt the session, which is something we definitely don't want. So I, again, encourage you, if you have any interest in being part of this at any time now or in the future, just in case, please join the Mac Voices Facebook group. You'll be approved and get in, and then it's done. If you just want to watch, in the case of this Tuesdays, by all means, go to the Mac Voices Facebook page and look for it there. And join in the chat, the Facebook chat there. We'll be monitoring that, taking questions, or hopefully responding to your comments. So that's the Mac Voices Live update and why we're changing it over, and the way we're trying to make it a little bit more of value. And for those folks, again, due to the time zone situation, that maybe don't get there, we'll be publishing some of the best of those to the Mac Voices feeds as regular shows. There are a few other objectives and things I want to do with Mac Voices that I'm working on slowly but surely, but it's a little more slow than sure. Life just has been really busy with COVID-19, happily not from a health perspective for me, but from a work perspective, it's been a little more than a little crazy. That's also the reason that Trek Favorites is on a bit of a hiatus. I've even got one show in the can, and I just can't seem to find the time to get it edited and released. So all of that just requires time. It will happen. It just will take time. So that wraps up everything but the support report, which of course is very important here. The good news is that we didn't have anyone that left. The bad news is we didn't have anyone that joined. But that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate all the folks who provide the regular support through Patreon to keep Mac Voices going. So this month, we did not have any platinum sponsors, but at gold, we had David G., Tim G., and Chuck P. At silver, we had Bobby, Chuck A., Michael D., and Bruce E., Norbert F., Hal P., George R., and Daniel S. And at bronze, we had Max C., Clinton M., John M., Frank P., and Prop P. So again, thank you so much to those folks who support Mac Voices on a regular basis. We did not have any PayPal supporters this month. That's fine, but that option is there if you or someone you know finds extra special value in an episode and want to help support the show. The PayPal donation is the way to do it. And of course, buying through our Amazon links, writing reviews on iTunes, or something as simple as just telling a friend that, hey, you ought to check out this show or these shows in general, or a specific show about a particular topic. That always helps because that helps us get new listeners and keep the show going. So that wraps up this month's, which is, June 2020. Time's going fast, folks. I'll be back with the July update next month, and in the meantime, I'll see you on Mac Voices. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.